Hi, good evening.
Hi.
Hi,
Okay, so do you want to tell us, first of all, your name, please?
Yeah, my name is Kevin Martinez. Nice to meet you.
nice to meet you,
Nice to
Kevin.
meet you.
Oh, Kevin, can you tell us your academic formation and how long have you been teaching?
Yeah, well, I studied in a private teaching training school where I got the degree in secondary education with the specialty in English as a foreign language. And I've been teaching English for, I think, 6 or 7 years.
Well, Kevin, which do you think are the main strengths and weaknesses in your students?
I think that that's a very interesting question. I am going to talk about their weaknesses first. I think that their weaknesses are in that the most of the students in first grade, for example, they had not get the contact with English language in lower grades. So some students has the experience with English since they were in preschool, and some of them has her first contact with English language in secondary school. I think that it's the main weakness in those students. And strange, I can see my students, for example, the students that are in second and third grade in secondary school, I think they have mastering this knowledge in English language since they were in preschool. I'm working in a college where they have English every day. They have 8 hours of English every day. So I think that's the greatest uh, strength I can get from my students.
Interesting. And I have another question. How do you think you can plan your classes considering these strengths and weaknesses?
Well, I think that I can plan my lessons by first. The first you have to do when you are your lesson planning is to analyze the results about your diagnostic test, where you can find all the strengths, all the weaknesses, which areas of the English language they are good in. So this is going to give you the way to plan your lessons. So I think that I can find interesting that my students, for example, in first grade, they are also very active students. So I need to use materials, flashcards, and they finish their activities so fast. So I have to make a lesson that is focused in make activities or make written activities, or when we go to the yard and we play, no? We play some games. In the case of second and third grade, I think that I can plan my lessons in order they can use more vocabulary, where they can practice that vocabulary in oral expressions and social practice of language. So I focus my lesson plan in activities like videos and listening, songs. Sometimes we use presentations in PowerPoint. When we have sessions in Zoom, I use that resources.
Okay, so focusing a little bit on the planning of your classes, has the use of virtual platforms facilitated learning for students or has it been counterproductive?
I think that these resources have made easy the English language teaching, because in this historic moment, I think that the education has changed a lot. We have to evolve the way we teach. So, for example, we have to use tools like Zoom, Meet, Classroom, YouTube, For example, I know a teacher that uses Spotify as a resource to teach history, no? So I can say that these resources that we use in this time make easy that learnings for students.
Okay, so I think you have already answered this, but just to make it clear, what resources have you used in your distance classes to make them more interesting?
Yeah, as I told you, I have used Classroom. It's the main tool I have used, but also I use Zoom, this platform that we use every day. I also have to use documents from Google, presentations, forms. I think that I can use these resources to embrace students to make the knowledge and the learnings more easy. Another resources I think that we use always as English teachers are listenings, audios, flashcards, but sometimes it made by paper, but now we have to use them in virtual sessions.
Now, Kevin, tell me, with online classes, have you felt that your planning has become easier or more time consuming?
I think that it made my classes very hard to do. I have to plan for students that are in virtual class, because now we return to face-to-face classes. So I have to plan for students that are in the classroom and for students that are in virtual class, because not all return to face-to-face classes. For example, in first grade, we have 3 students in distance, and the other 8 students are face-to-face in the classroom. So it's very difficult to plan for students that are in virtual, because I have to use resources for virtual, and I have to make adaptations about the topics, about the resources for those students that are in virtual class. So it is harder, but I think it consumes my time.
Okay. Well, another question. What are the biggest difficulties you have faced online, and how have you solved them?
Difficulties. I think that the main difficult thing I faced in online sessions is that the students doesn't have a good internet connection. Most of the students don't know how to use Zoom or some platforms that we use commonly. So I have to teach them how to use Classroom. They say that, I don't know where is the video, teacher, and I don't know where it appeared. No, so that's a difficulty I faced, but I think now students know how to use them. Principal in first grade, because second and third grade, they have worked with this modality, and they know how to find homeworks in Classroom. They know how to join a Zoom meeting, and some of those questions I think that we faced, but now they are clear with that.
Okay, thanks, Kevin.
Well, Kevin, you have shared with us the many issues you have come face to face in regards to both normal classes and online classes. However, after having experienced both modalities, both face to face and online, of course, which one do you find the best for both you and your students?
Yes, I have experienced both modalities. At the first moment, we used to be on hybrid. I go to school 3 days, and 2 days was in virtual class. So as I told you, I faced some difficulties in both. The main difficulty face-to-face classes was that students were in the classroom and we have a computer with Zoom, and the students that were in virtual class, they were in that computer listening the class and watching the teacher. And we faced, all the teachers faced that sometimes the internet connection failed and the students say, "Oh, teacher, we don't listen to you. What happened? You're freeze." No, so that was a difficulty. Another difficult that I faced with virtual was that they sometimes join the class in virtual, and when I asked someone to participate, they weren't in the class. No? So I was like, "Alexis, are you there? Alexis, I can hear you. Turn on your camera." And the silence were in the Zoom. No? So students go another places, or the noises background where the students study. And that was a very difficult part of both modalities.
Okay, so I think we finished with all the questions. Is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I think that it was an interesting interview. I think that I can express some of my experiences with English teaching. What semester are you cursing now?
Well, we are in third semester.
Third?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you done practices in some schools?
What do you mean with?
Not yet.
Oh.
Oh, sorry.
Well,
Have
yeah.
you practiced teaching in a school?
No.
Once or twice.
I think you are going to do it someday. And I think that I can give you an advice. Please be the teacher that you always want to be when you were students. I think English is a very interesting topic, subject we can share with the students, because in contrast with Spanish, they learn grammar, they learn vocabulary. We use flashcards, videos, audios, in where students are involved. And so please give your students the best of you.
Thank you, Kevin.
We will.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, finally, I want to thank you for joining us and for your time. I know that this modality has been especially hard for teachers, and that isn't always appreciated. So thank you so much, and I hope you keep on creating new strategies. I don't know if you guys have anything else you want to add.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
let's
for your
see.
time.
Hey,
Sorry,
thank you guys for take this interview for your project, and I wish that it useful for you for your formation as English teachers.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.